Hello, and welcome to Get It Off Your Chest, the funny side of breast cancer podcast. I'm Estelle Moore, and we're live and speaking in Tissy Towers, and I'm joined with my beautiful partner,
Andrea Moulding. Hello, Estelle. How are you?
I'm very, very well. And how are you?
Yes, I'm all right.
How did dry January go, by the way?
Not great.
That's a big
fail. Yeah, big fail on that score, I'm afraid.
So, yeah, let's not bother, eh? Let's not try that ever.
I just don't like following the herd. You know, everybody else does dry family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, we couldn't do dry January because we had too much to celebrate this
Yes,
month,
we did.
didn't we?
Yes,
we did. So if you didn't listen to the last show, well, I don't know why you didn't, because it was absolutely fabulous. So how dare you not listening to it? But in that show, we did wish ourselves happy birthday because we were 1 year old.
1 year old.
So I went out celebrating at the weekend, me and Mr. M, Pete, and we had a few glasses of fizz. How did you get on?
Well, my twins were 18 the same week, so I went out for my first legal drink with my children.
Oh, that's fabulous. But I take it wasn't their first drink.
I'd like to think that it was, but I'd be very surprised if it was, to be honest, with me as a mother. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be surprised with you and Paddy the way you drink if it was their first drink. Absolutely nuts. So what's been happening in your world? Anything exciting?
Well, do you remember Charlie Ferrier, who was one of our guests, known as the Cancer Tamer?
The lovely Charlie.
Well, she is doing a big health expo in Florida in May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And she is, as part of that, doing a mermaid art exhibition, which I am entering. And basically, it's about what would a mermaid look like with breast cancer? You know, would she still be alluring with one breast or whatever? She's got artists from all over the world kind of sending in stuff. And I'm doing a biker chick mermaid, because you know me, I like to go down to Bonkers and get my latest art supplies.
Have you been to Bonkers with your trolley, filling it up with all kinds of stuff?
I have. So I'm at the moment spending my time drawing a bald mermaid that's a biker chick in a leather jacket looking in a mirror. And that's going to be my
drawing it?
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's pretty rubbish, but Charlie doesn't want just kind of massively fabulous artists.
Yeah.
She also wants
as well with you, innit?
All women to express themselves, because any art groups out there or anybody that's good at art or bad at art, Google the Cancer Tamer and enter your picture of a mermaid and how you would envisage her with breast cancer. So, because I'm doing mine, and Estelle, you can do yours with your farrow and ball paint that you're
do you know what? I might have a little go. Farrow and ball paint. But yeah, no, you'll have to I'll have to have a look at the details, and I might censor that myself. So I can't do a biker chick, can I? I think mine will have to have like mad curly hair somewhere along the way. And where's it all being exhibited?
In Florida. It's all the details are on their website.
Okay.
It's a big health expo with all sorts of people turning up for blood tests, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's all on their website, so have a good look.
Great, fabulous. So we're privileged to have two guests on the show today. We've got Rhayne Thomas, she's coming from Nevada, and we've also got CJ Grace, who's coming all the way from Hawaii.
So
we're really looking forward to talking to her. She's got a couple of stories, judging by our previous chat. And that sounds like her plane coming in now, landing on the runway. And here she is.
Hey, good to see you. Good to meet you in person.
Yes,
hi, CJ.
I've just been out for a swim in the Maui Ocean.
And we've just lost CJ there.
Yeah, my CJ.
Yep.
No, we
can't see her, we can't hear her anymore. I wonder why. There she is in Hawaii. What made you go to Hawaii? Well,
it was actually my ex-husband's dream, to be. I married an American. He always had this idea he wanted to be in Hawaii, and then he decided to trade me in for a younger model, and he told me to what was his quote? He said, "Oh, you need to find a rich husband and move somewhere cheaper." But he moved to Colorado, and I stayed in Hawaii. So that's where
what
we
a
were.
shitbag! And I think you come off better off. I mean,
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah.
So where are you from in Britain, CJ?
London, England. Yeah.
You're a very interesting person. You've been a BBC journalist.
BBC journalist, and then I also worked for China Radio International as a journalist advisor over there. And now I'm hosting 2 live shows for the Thriving Women Network, a book show and a debate show. So
could you just tell us, CJ, about when you had your cancer?
Yeah, in 2000, I'm a 2-time breast cancer survivor. I had it in 2007 on the left side. I had it in 2014 on the right side. So for the left side, I had radiation only. For the right side, because there was some lymph node involvement, I had radiation and chemo. I also did alternative stuff. I did pretty much everything. And I'm fine now. I took a controversial decision. I turned down mastectomies. I just did lumpectomies both times. They didn't really even mention it the first time around. The second time around, because of Angelina Jolie's story, the surgeons were much more kind of aggressive about pushing that particular route, but it wasn't one that I took. It was and some people disagreed with me, but I just, at the moment, I'm still here. So
no one's allowed an opinion, to be honest with you, CJ. That's between you and whoever you pray to, quite frankly.
Yeah, there's no one size fits all answer to it. You have to go with your gut.
So do you want to tell us your hairless Halloween? What's that all about?
Yeah, well, I was really unhappy about being hairless. Everybody feels pretty ugly, you know. I mean, I wasn't like there's this wonderful People magazine cover with Joan London, who was the host for Good Morning America, and she looks beautiful even without hair. You know, she's gorgeous. I was not gorgeous without hair. But
no, my mum was going through. Sorry, Sue. My mum was going through my phone and looking at some old pictures, and she found a picture of me bald. She said, "Who's that old man?" I said, "Mum, that's me." So that's what I look like.
Oh my God. So the thing is that the one day that I agreed to go out without a wig was Halloween, and I was a hairless devil. And a lot of people thought I was wearing a prosthetic bald top or something. But once they heard my story, they got very sympathetic, and I got absolutely tons of candy that was supposed to go to the kids. So you know,
banging them out the way.
Yeah, because I mean, they felt sorry for me, and I'm a real chocoholic, so I was quite happy to get all that stuff. And you know, the thing was that it was really cold. I mean, if you're trick or treating I was in Northern California, and it was cold, and it's cold without a wig. Keeps you warm, hair keeps you warm, and so these bald guys who are bald all the time, they're not vain wearing hats outside because you feel cold. So you know, you think it's vanity that they're always wearing a cap or a hat or something like that. No, it's pretty damn cold when you have a bald head and you're outdoors and it's cold weather. So
my husband's bald, so he does wear a hat. But I'm just thinking, maybe next Halloween I should pull him around and do some trick or treating so we can fill up our goodie cupboard a bit more.
Well, yeah, you just say, "Oh well, he's just been on chemo," and dress him up as a hairless
when his
devil.
hair comes back, he'll soon develop type 2 diabetes as well.
Oh God!
But still, he'd have to shave his beard off because he can't just.
He's got a beard. Yeah.
But in America, Halloween. I was brought up in Suffolk, where all the American bases are. So we had a lot of Americans live in the village where we were, and we used to go trick or treating. And all the kind of British people, you'd get like a really sad little kind of, apple or something. You go to the American houses, and you get like bags of treats. And we used to just not even bother going to the English people. We go straight to all the American houses, and they really celebrate Halloween. It's brilliant.
So I remember doing it when I was a kid, and I'm getting turned away. People said it's begging, when they were like, "What do you mean, trick or treat?" And I'd be like, "Because it's Halloween and I'm dressed like a witch and it's blah, blah, blah." Trying to explain to these people, and they were like, "So you're begging?" And I'd be like, oh, God's sake.
Yeah, but
Just let me flance off with me black bin liner flapping behind me. Because in them days, we didn't have rows and rows of all kinds of gorgeous costumes. It was what you could do with a black bin liner and a piece of black card. And that was it.
But whenever we go trick-or-treating with my kids, they get all their gear on. It's so cold. They have to wear their coats over the top. And their masks. So all they've got is the mask. So I make them strip their coats off and take a picture and then make it look like they're, but when we actually go trick-or-treating, it's so blooming cold. They have to wear coats over their, of the uniform. So I'm sure in Hawaii, it's much better.
It's much better, but I had my cancer treatment in California, so that's where I went, in Northern California, which can get quite cold in October. So it was an experience, to say the least.
Were you devastated the next year when you had loads of hair and you couldn't get away with it?
Oh, well, that's right. Well, I didn't go the following year. I just went that year. But, I was playing the cancer card big time for Halloween.
That cancer card,
What's the point? I've got hair like Aslan the lion. No one's going to give me any Hershey bars at this rate.
I don't like playing the cancer card, but I played it a couple of years ago when our drain overflowed. And we had like raw sewage in the garden. And I was like, but I'm a cancer survivor. I need someone to come up. They were out within a shot. So,
I did the same thing, because when I was going through chemo, I think what happened was that the shower got stuck because of all the hair that comes out when you're going through chemo. It blocked up the shower.
Like the dead dog in the drain.
So I called up the local plumbing company, and they weren't going to come for several days. And I said, look, I'm a cancer patient. I'm going through chemo. You've got to come as soon as possible. They came, and it was the weekend. They didn't charge me the weekend fee. So it was great. Yeah.
I wondered if you could tell us, because I know you were speaking about it before, about some of the rather unhelpful ways some people spoke to you when you found out you'd had cancer.
Oh, yes, because, when you are a cancer patient, everybody and their mother's uncle has an opinion on what you should do. And some of them go all fire and brimstone, like, if you don't do what they say, you're going to die, and they give you all this advice and stuff you have to do. And if you had maybe 72 hours in a day, you might be able to do all of the stuff that they're suggesting. But,
everyone's an expert. Aren't they?
They're all an expert. And I mean, sometimes it's good advice. Sometimes it's usually well-meaning, but often you just have to go with your gut and just ignore all the stuff that comes through. I had people who said, oh, chemo and radiation is toxic and doesn't work, as I was going through chemo and radiation. And then other people, that was the hippy dippy friends of mine. And then my more straight-laced friend, one guy in particular, I did a lot of alternative therapy along with the chemo and radiation. And he said, oh, alternative therapy is pure quackery, Well, seemed to work for me. And then another person who will remain nameless, he said to me, oh, the reason why you've got cancer is because you're too tense. You need to relax, he shouted. And of course, everybody knows that shouting at somebody is a really good way.
Did you punch him,
relax.
DJ?
I might have felt like doing that, but I didn't. In fact, I just thought, well, this is going to be fodder for my book.
Yeah.
You can't invent that stuff, it was just pretty amazing. Of course you feel tense and not relaxed when you're going through cancer. I mean, you should never feel bad about feeling
tense in life anyway.
Yeah. You want to have a positive attitude and laugh, and I did a lot of laughter therapy. But, you're not always going to be laughing.
About laughter therapy. What do you do when you have laughter therapy?
Well, no, it was more that I just gave up watching anything depressing. I watch comedies, Somebody invited me to see, I think, a film called Wild, which is about Reese Witherspoon getting over depression by going on the Pacific Trail or something, Pacific Crest Trail, but it's kind of dark and depressing. So why would I want to watch a movie about somebody who's depressed when I'm going through breast cancer? No, I want comedies. I want stuff that's going to be uplifting and make me laugh, because laughter is actually the best medicine. It's a very, very, as you know, with this podcast, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, you want comedies, you want people who are going to cheer you up. You don't want somebody who's competing with you, telling you about, oh, well, I had this illness and it was terrible. And I remember when I was going through radiation, I was really, this was in 2014. So one particular guy who'd had radiation on his throat for, I think it was throat cancer or tonsil cancer or something like. He said, oh, it was so terrible. It was the worst time of my life. I'd never want to go through it. But I hope you'll be okay. But if I hadn't already had radiation in 2007 for breast cancer, I would have been shitting bricks, to say the vernacular.
Why say that to somebody?
Yeah, but it's not true for somebody going through breast cancer, because it's not the same thing as when you have it on your throat. If you have radiation on your throat, that's a more serious, it has more side effects than if you do it on the breast. So, and the other thing, talking about unsolicited advice, because I put a cartoon together in my book. It's the very first one in the introduction to My Wild Ride. All these different types of advice that I got, that I'm sure everybody would get in one form or another. So the final thing was the food Nazis, who say, well, if you don't give up dairy, your cancer's going to come back, or something.
Yes, I've had that one. I've had that one as well.
And I'm a Brit. I'm not going to have, I have milk in my tea. I'm not going to have OT or soy milk or some nasty fake concoction. I've got to have real milk in my tea. So, despite all this, I did chemo and radiation. I did tons of alternative therapy. I was not relaxed all the way through, and I had dairy and other things that maybe weren't advisable according to the views of these people. But it's a crapshoot. I wouldn't want to advise anybody else how to deal with their cancer. I'm not a doctor. I don't know, and there's no one size fits all answer. But all I can say is, to quote Monty Python, I'm not dead yet. So there you go. Whatever I did has worked so far.
Yes. And you're living your best life in Hawaii while we're sitting here freezing to death with our Ovaltine. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You still buy Ovaltine?
I like a bit of Ovaltine. I know, I'm a 70s girl. I can't help myself. Do you want to quickly tell people what the name of your book is, so they can?
It's My Wild Ride: How to Thrive After Breast Cancer and Infidelity, and it's available on Amazon as a paperback and as an ebook.
Check out CJ's website as well. There's a lot of stuff on there that's very useful.
Well, lovely. Well, thank you for joining us, TJ, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon.
Yes, I've really enjoyed being on your show.
Okay, thanks ever so much. It's lovely to see you.
So that was CJ Grace flying back to Hawaii. It was good to talk to her. Wish I was in Hawaii, because this weather is just absolutely dreadful.
Yes, I'm going to go and put my balaclava on and go into the kitchen, the coldest room in the house.
Why is that? It's got gas rings and electric rings and ovens and that going all day, and yet mine is as well.
Oh, I know. Put the microwave on full and just hug it. Stuff it up your jumper.
You can't do that. It'll cook your liver in about 30 seconds if you've got a 900 watt. Okay, then. So who have we got now, Andrea?
Well, we have Rhayne Thomas. She's an amazing person. She's a vocalist. She's an author. She's a breast cancer survivor. And she's CEO of something called Prunes Are Sexy.
What's all that about?
Well, I think we're going to have to ask her.
We will. And here she is, just around in the studio now.
Hello.
Hi, Rhayne.
Okay.
Good morning. How is everyone?
Welcome to the show. Where are you? Where are you calling in from?
I am calling in from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is it like proper Vegas that we know? Is that
pretty much?
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, we don't live on the strip. Most people don't. But we're in the valley. I mean,
how far are you from Grand Canyon?
About 4.5 hours. It's in Arizona.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was all around by Vegas. Why?
No, it's funny because when people come to visit, they do the same thing. They say, oh, we're going to go here, we're going to go there, we're going to go to Grand Canyon. I said, you do realize the Grand Canyon is like almost 5 hours from here, right? And they're like,
Oh,
oh, I
wow.
can do it. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's far.
I've been to the Grand Canyon. I've been on a little plane over the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And I went to Las Vegas with my mum and dad many, many years ago. And then I waved goodbye to them and I got on a Greyhound bus and went to Colorado to meet some friends that I'd met traveling. That was exciting. Everyone kept asking me if I knew Lady Diana.
yeah, this is not my kind of city. We're moving in a year or so, but
Because
you
you're from
know,
New
Where are you
York,
moving
aren't
to?
you?
I'm born and raised from the Bronx. I lived a lot of places before we got here, but I've never liked it here.
Where are you going to?
We're moving to Texas.
So you've literally gone from east to west, and now you're going in the middle.
Yeah.
Estelle's pretending she has a grasp of American geography. But if you
I
listen to any of our other shows, you'll know that she doesn't know where it's like, where's
haven't got a
Maryland?
Scooby-Doo. I know where New York is. I know where Las Vegas is. I know where Texas is because I watched Dallas in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. you did.
About it. Yeah. If she'd have said somewhere else like Seattle, then I'd have probably just kept me trap shut.
I know about Seattle. It's got a lot of fish markets, isn't it? Seattle.
Yes.
And it's
yes,
where
it's-
Fraser was filmed.
Yeah.
You see, that's it. Our geography is all related to TV.
To TV. But honestly, by the time in about 10 years' time, when we're still doing this podcast, we will be able to teach geography to all American students because
Yes, we will.
literally with every show, we're getting to understand a little bit
Yeah.
more.
We've been invited all over America, haven't we? We're going to do a tour. Yeah. Let's get ourselves a big pink bus and we'll do a tour.
Oh,
Let's
do
go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
You
do
can
it.
come and play. You can come and play guitar on it. You can do.
Oh, yeah.
Who
Yeah.
who are you talking about? You couldn't be too. You haven't heard my playing skills, so you couldn't be saying me play the guitar.
Yeah, but I have been listening to some of your music. You're a very accomplished vocalist. In
Thank
fact,
you.
I don't think there's much you haven't done, is there? Vocalist, author, breast cancer survivor, and I want you to tell us all about Prunes Are Sexy.
So I loved Prunes as a kid, and as I got older and I tell people, yeah, I love Prunes, they look at me like, oh, you shot the Pope. I'm like, no, Prunes are so good for you. And so I'm about, I don't know, 30 years ago, yeah, I just started talking more and more about Prunes, especially during performances. And I got the same reaction. And I told my husband, I said, I'm going to make the prune sexy. And so I started Prunes Making You Run and Prunes Making You Run for breast cancer. And I had shirts done up, and I've done lots of fundraisers over the years for cancer and breast cancer. And
Fantastic.
so I thought it was a good way to kind of have a play on it. And, and I started having some of the vintners and wineries do their own version of a prune wine for me that people could buy. And the monies go to shoestring organizations. I'm not funding anybody's yacht, it would just go right to the survivor, right to the oncology department. And it kind of started taking on a life of its own. And so I noticed in the supermarket, the boxes started saying pitted plums. So I started writing to the California Prune Board. They're the largest importer and exporter of prunes in the world. And I told them, I said, I don't like this is called pitted plum. And, a prune is still a prune by any other name, like the rose. It just kind of got on their nerves, I guess, for years. And, anytime I had an event, people would say, come, can you give out prunes? I'd give out individual prunes, especially for fundraisers for cancer, and explain how good prune is for gut health, helping with cancer, stomach issues, your bones, alleviating some hot flashes. Like I went through the whole thing. And then I thought the prune needs a holiday. So I got on that and started doing that. And a few years ago, the California Prune Board sent me a letter saying I would be happy to know they were rebranding and they were calling it Prunes again. And so, Sunsweet would send prunes to all of my events and get involved and showing children that you don't need to take pills to regulate your body. You just go the natural way. And so it's taking off again. I'm getting ready to be one of the brand ambassadors for Prunes and just so on and so forth. And this is how we got to Prunes Are Sexy. Prunes, if you look up National Prune Day, it's June 15th. I created it in 98 and you'll see it on calendars. Anyone who does anything prune related on that day, we donate 1% of whatever it is they do to cancer survivors, oncology departments, cancer survivors, maybe their families or kids and things of that nature. And so now I'm working on Wrinkle Justice, which is the super prune, telling you why you should eat prunes.
Yeah.
And working on ACADS, which is All Curves Are Dangerous Society, to teach young women and young men, and that doesn't matter what your body looks like, it's still beautiful, and learning to appreciate it.
So tell us, Rhayne, about when did your cancer journey begin?
I was diagnosed at 4:11 p.m. on April 28th, 2011. And I was staying with friends in Arizona, and doctor called and told me there. And I said, okay, so now what? She's like, be in my office at 7 a.m. on Monday. I was in surgery on Wednesday.
That's
I
like
was
me. I was
not
stupid.
playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, because I'd seen it my whole life. It doesn't run in my family. Our family, everybody dies at about 1,000. Nobody has any real issues. So I was really surprised when it showed up on my doorstep, because I have been a volunteer since 1976. And I've seen it from when someone said cancer, you were a goner. And then, it's kind of swinging the other way, where their medical has, created a new level of help and resources.
And what was your treatment?
I opted for a lumpectomy, and then I did 45 rounds of radiation. I did not have to have chemo.
You said about your 45 rounds of chemo. This brings us to radiation, should say.
Mhm.
And this brings us to your funny story.
I had to, when you have a lumpectomy, they have to wait till that space refills with blood before they can start the radiation. And about week 3, and I think this was interesting, I was at my doctor's office, one of my doctors, and I asked the nurse, I said, this is like week 3, and I don't see anything happening. Because I saw the other women there, and it looked like terrible sunburn, and, it was bad. Well, lo and behold, a week later, I wake up, and I feel like it felt gritty under my arms. Like look, and I'm like, what is this? And it stinks. So I go to the mirror and I hold up my arm, and all of this is just, the flesh is just falling, it's decomposing.
Like a zombie.
Yeah. Oh, totally. So I take a picture of it, and I said to my husband, babe, look, exclamation point. And a few minutes goes by, he says, babe, does that hurt? And I wrote back, hemotet. He's like, this is funny. In a sick way, it is kind. The rotting of the arm, that was definitely interesting. And it smelled horrible, like a rotten chicken under my arm. It was disgusting. And so I said to my doctor, I have a great team. They all worked independent, they're private, but they knew each other. And Dr. Kuski is the doctor that invented whole breast radiation. And wow. Dr. Kuski is a pretty serious guy, and the first day I met him, he comes in with this whole team of people, and he shuffles in, he's like, Rhayne Thomas, I'm Dr. Robert Kuski. I understand you've been diagnosed. I said, mm-hmm. And I'm sitting on their table thing, and everybody's taking notes. And he looks at my hands, and he turns it over, and he looks at my nails, and I snatch my hand back. I said, Dr. K, I said, I can't marry you. I'm already married. And he stares at me, and he looks down at the notes, and he looks back at me, and he says, weren't you just diagnosed with breast cancer? I said, I was. He said, and you're making jokes? I said, will it be gone if I don't? And he walks out and leaves these people in.
Well done. Well
Doctor's bedside manners. We've talked about that in past podcasts, haven't we, Estelle?
Yeah. Some doctors are just, I don't know, but imbecilic is probably the best word I can give. They know how to treat people. They just don't know how to speak to people. That's the problem with some of them.
Well, I didn't mind, because I could see that Dr. Kuski really cared. He's just in professional mode.
So was humor really important to you, Rhayne?
Yes, it's I come from a very negative background. And the only way I survived that was creating my own sense of humor. But I learned the art of humor as, growing up, and I learned my humor can be cutthroat. A lot of my friends say, you go right for the jugular, because if I go for the jugular, then you just leave me alone. And that's kind of how that started as a kid. And, singing the blues, you can add humor, and people didn't know whether I was telling the truth or if I was just kind of going to the left. Yeah, it just kind of took off from there. I want people to understand it's okay to laugh about pain sometimes. Sometimes you have to laugh so that you can get through it.
Absolutely. No, I mean, we've had both of us have been kind of told off for doing this podcast, haven't we, Estelle?
Why?
Because people find it inappropriate to talk about cancer and laugh about it. But like we always say, it's best to take the piss out of it, because, well, why not? Take the piss out of other things, so why not cancer?
Right.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories. It's been lovely meeting you. It really has.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And I'm going to buy some prunes tomorrow and send you a picture of me eating them.
Oh,
So you heard it,
good luck with
heard
that.
it here first. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Rhayne. So lovely to meet you.
Pleasure. Thanks, you. Bye for now.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Well, that was brilliant. That was Rhayne Thomas, all the way from Las Vegas. Must be really exciting living in Las Vegas. Wonder if she can see all the lights, on a clean day. She said
I think it's just like the one strip, though, isn't it, with all the Caesar Palace and the big pyramid thing and everything. And like she said, I mean, it must do your head in with all the tourists coming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always imagine the land around there is really, really flat, so you could probably see, the lights in the distance or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've been. I loved it. I don't think I'd have any money at all if I lived there permanently, because it's.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he goes out there periodically, about once every 3 months, just to play poker.
Yeah.
Poker tables, and he goes with a certain amount of money in his pocket, and then he comes back with that. Put it this way, that pocket's normally flapping. But he still does it, and he says it's worth it because he's had fun while he's there.
Exactly, that's all.
Right, well, it's been a great day in Tissy Towers. We can see Hamilton Brown III is trying to lock up. He's not given us any stories this week, has he? He's been very, very quiet lately.
He has been quiet. No conspiratorial stories this week, but I think he went out for a drink with David Icke. So no doubt next week we'll have a ton of them.
Knows out. Right, thank you for listening. If you want to contact us, how do they do that, Andrea?
Well, you can send us an email at stories@tittytowers.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and I have just put us on YouTube as well. So yeah,
that's news to me.
Yeah, it's just a kind of picture with the pod. It's just another avenue for our listeners to find us.
I love the way she clears it with me. As you can see, this partnership is wasted on one side.
You're too busy going and making friends with the BBC.
That's it. Far too busy.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I do all the grunt work, don't I?
The grunt man. Look, somebody's got to do it, kids.
I know. Far be it for me to complain. I'm just happy to be in your presence.
Shut up. Right, okay. So, yeah, Stories at Tissy Towers, Facebook, Instagram. And, and we just give birth to ourselves on YouTube. But until next time, stay healthy, everybody, and bye.
Yep, see you soon. Bye.